Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. So today I'm gonna profile something that is kind of important or special in this channel. I'm going to bring back an old friend that we had at the beginning of this channel, and that is Tearlaments. So it's been a while since we showed Tearlaments in this channel. If you've been here since the very beginning, you know that Lunalight Tiger was one of the first decks that I've experimented with. I did had a regional top with this deck. It was 60 cards. There were a lot of different cards in the card pool, and the metagame was completely different back then, back in 2022. But now we're bringing up another spicy layer to this equation. We're going to pair it up with Fiendsmith. And the Fiendsmith cards do a lot of things for Tearlaments, but at the same time, it gives us a lot of caveats. I'm going to talk about the caveats first, because I think it's very imperative and important to bring this up, because Fiendsmith actually gives a big problem to the Tearlament deck that the Tearlament deck already had before and cannot be easily solved. And that is the extra deck space. Like, if you look here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can say Pilgrim Reaper is a 6 card. 6 cards dedicated to our extra deck because of the Fiendsmith engine. And that is a little bit unfortunate because there are a few cards that we're missing. Like, for example, Sprite Sprint is a very important one because it can dump Merly. Another card that we're missing here is like Underworld Goddess. There was a Tearlament version that I played that used to play like the King of the Swamp cards with Grand Windmill. So that's something also that we're missing. Let's see what is another significant one. Like Cross Cheap is another really cool one that we're missing. Appaloosa's gone from the game, so we don't have to talk about Appaloosa anymore. The access code line is also not viable with all the extra deck spots that we're using. There are other really cool fusion monsters like Grapha, like the Overlord. So there are a lot of stuff that we're missing. Also, since we're playing the Lunalight package, I think it's very important to talk about rank 4s. So, like, we're missing, for example, Forstrix. That used to be a line that we did with Zephyros. We are missing stuff like Abyss Dweller, even though that is already in the side deck. We are missing Baguska, that is another really cool one. Overall, there are a few significant cards that we are missing. So you kind of have to make up with what this engine is giving us. And you need to make sure that whatever engine we're pairing this up with really can stand up to the metagame, can really bolster the strategy of this deck, can really just give you a very strong card advantage. So yeah. Now that we talked about the extra deck, let's talk about the main deck. So what cards did we gain since the last time we profiled in Tearlaments that really helped the strategy? More Charming Perolia is a really cool one because it is an aqua monster, so this is a material for Kaleido Heart. It is also level 4, so you can use it for making Dugares and making Bahamut Shark. So those are two important things to mention. The Grass Looks Greener is now TCG legal, which is another really strong tool for Tearlaments. This is a card that really benefits this archetype. And since we're playing the Lunalight engine is another engine that works well with the graveyard. So it's another engine to pair up with that also works with Grass Looks Greener. Thanks to the inclusion of the Fiendsmith cards, we have access to Pilgrim Reaper. Since Beatrice is now gone from the game, we kind of had to find like another rank 6 that really facilitates our combos and plays. And Pilgrim Reaper specifically does that. Another thing that the Fiendsmith engine does is it gives us access to like Necroquip, and Necroquip is a fusion monster, so you can fusion into Drago's Tapelia easier now. This engine is recyclable, so you have ways to just play with all these cards like on consecutive turns. This is a tech that I am playing in this deck. You should be playing Sprite Sprint instead of Chaos Angel, but Chaos Angel is very easy to make in this deck, especially if you pair it up a Lunalight with Engraver. You can pair Engraver with Mud Dragon and just turn the Mud Dragon into a light attribute monster. And this card is no joke. This card is a really cool resource. You can recycle it back to your extra deck to summon Mud Dragon as well. So yeah, I really like Chaos Angel in this deck. It's not mandatory by any means, but you know, it is one of those cards that I feel is a literal nice inclusion for like breaking boards. The Bahamut Toad line, I think is kind of mandatory. As long as Toad is legal in the TCG, I think this is the line that people will be going for when it comes to tier. Especially since we already lost a good amount of like Omni negates or like very specific monster negates of our end board. And this card does recycle back your Tearlaments Kashtira. It recycles back your Rhinoheart. It can recycle back Perulia. I'm not condoning this, but if you do decide to play Dogwood, it also gets you back Dogwood. But yeah, that's like one of the many things that we have to take away when it comes to like the new inclusion to the extra. You notice there is no Horus engine. I think the Fiendsmith engine is just better than Horus, just solely for the reason that it can recycle cards. But yeah, I'm just gonna show you like two replays. One is a natural duel that we had, and one is stuff that you can do with your hand. This is me just freestyling. One big deal is that in the past we used to have specific combos. Like for example with the Visas line, we had a specific combo that just got our engine going. We also had a specific combo back when Cyberstein was legal. Now we don't have those anymore. So you kind of have to freestyle like a lot of your plays that you do with your deck. However, there are things that you can do. Like for example, this is the Lunalight line. Since we do have Close Heaven enables the Fiendsmith line. And let's look at the options we have with the Fiendsmith. So we make Necroquip here. And one really cool thing about Necroquip is we do have cards like Black Sheep and Moonlight Perfume that can just dump to the graveyard in order to like activate, and that triggers Necroquip. So for example, we're doing Black Sheep effect. Black Sheep effect is going to grab us Yellow Marten, and now Necroquip gets triggered, and Necroquip gets to draw like another card. And now we can use Perfume, dump with Perfume, grab the Tiger. We activate Pearl Rhino. We're going to take the Pearl Rhino back in a moment because sequencing is kind of important now. If you know there are other plays you can do in part of your sequence before like activating the planet effect, then those are a little bit more justified. Take note that milling cards also could ruin your sequence or just mis-sequence like your plays. That's always been the deal with Tearlaments, but it's something that I felt like should strongly be mentioned. So we do Engraver. Engraver puts back Moon. We're going to summon Pilgrim, or we can summon Sequence. This is showing you all the options that we have available. With Sequence, you have two options. It's either Aerial Eater or Kaleido Heart. Yes, you can make Kaleido Heart with Sequence as long as you have the right materials, because it asks for like to make any Fiend fusion monster, and this is a Fiend monster, surprisingly. We're just gonna go with the Pilgrim line, and you'll see in a moment why. So we grab those two, we make Pilgrim Reaper mills 6. We only get to trigger Soliac, but that's perfectly fine. Soliac gets us the Grano Heart. We're going to grab the Tearlaments, catch Tira. We're going to activate Tiger, bring back the Kailyric. We're going to use Martin's effect. We're going to put back Tiger, and now we're going to overlay for a rank 4. You already saw the extra deck, so you already know which rank 4 that we're making. Dugaris is literally the best option because Dugaris can either draw you more cards, or if you mill something important, like for example the Bestial Magnamut, you can also reborn it back with Dugaris, and it kind of fuels your plays a little bit more. We're just going to do the draw effect, and we're going to dump Heartbeat. Heartbeat is going to trigger and grab us Meta Noise. We're going to Tearlaments catch Tira. Tearlaments catch Tira is going to banish to mill 3. We didn't mill anything important. We're going to use the Perfume. We're going to grab a Tiger, and this is another thing we should talk about. The last Forbidden Limited list gave us back a second Tiger, and even though Lunalights are not going to be like very playable in the meta game, just having a second Tiger kind of facilitates your combos more because it just gives us free extenders in this kind of deck, and you'll see why the 2 Tigers can come up. So we activate Tiger, and that was going to resummon Close Heaven. And the Close Heaven is going to be used as material to make sequence. And this is what I was talking about. Like, usually this play exhausts a lot of resources, but since Lunalights give you those extra resources, then it's pretty much free to make sequence. Another thing to mention is, because of this line, you can do both the Pilgrim Reaper play and then the sequence play. And remember what I said about sequence. Before that, we're going to do Halfness effect. We're going to bad Necro Crit. These are the 2 options that we can make. We can make Dragos Papilia, or we can make Mud Dragon. We're going to just grab those 2 to make Bahamut Shark. Bahamut Shark is going to resummon Totally Awesome. And again, this is freestyling. So the reason that we're doing this play specifically, and I am going to change it in a moment, we're going to keep the Dugaris. You should be keeping the Tearlament. You should not be greedy like I did. But this is me just showing you the most optimized way to do this. Because now you can sequence, put back these 2, summon Aerial Eater, and with Aerial Eater we're going to dump Hell Shaddoll Hollow. And Hell Shaddoll Hollow is very interesting because it mills between different original attributes amongst monsters on the field. So you're going to notice that we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attributes. So that gives us 5 free mills. These mills were not good, and we didn't activate Scream. However, this is just to show you that, this deck is very, very flexible at what it can do. It can put out a good amount of end boards. It could make interruptions. It can pick apart boards. It plays enough non-engine that it could be circumvented. You don't have to play Thrust. You don't have to play Talents. I think these are the better choices just because of grass looks greener. Some people play the left arm offering. I'm not a fan of left arm, especially in a deck like this one, but it is an option to consider. Because if you just resolve grass, you're just way ahead in the game than your opponent. Depending on what matchup it is. Now we're just going to show you a replay. So this replay was against Tempai Dragons. They made us go first. We activate Foolish Burial Goods. They activate Dimension Shifter. So we are forced to dump Terraforming. Just try to avoid giving as much knowledge about your deck to your opponent. They just have to figure out what deck we're actually playing. And the card that we're going to set is Kaleido Chick. Kaleido Chick is a very, very funny card because this card has a hidden effect that kind of beats Tempai Dragons. So if we read this card right here, in this at this specific juncture, it says if this card is banished, you can activate this effect. This turn, your opponent cannot activate cards during the battle phase. So that's going to be a big deal because they do Raigeki us. The Raigeki is going to make it so we can do Kaleido Chick. And not only can we do Kaleido Chick, we can now do more Charming Perulia as well. So I told my opponent that I had a play after Kaleido Chick. So just to confirm, he lets us go through. He's going to like play out his turn. He's going to do Sangen Summoning. He's going to try to do Dora's effect. He has the Gold Sark. Gold Sark grabs Maces, so they grab Chandra. And I'm going to pause it right here. He had game. I don't know if you saw the line. All he had to do was make Trident Dragon with these 3 cards. And the Trident Dragon popped the Sangen Summoning. That play does lose to Imperm immediately, and they don't know what deck we're playing. So this is like a little bit of a safer line. He tried to activate Chandra. I tried to tell him the Kaleido Chick already activated. So yep, I tell them that they cannot do that. So they just keep playing. They make seals. And again, this goes back to my discussion involving Shifter. Like, Shifter is a very, very annoying card to deal with. But if you can play a strategy or you can have a game plan that involves just making sure you can play after the Shifter ends, you have a chance. I was lucky with the Kaleido Chick, but you know, the fact that they were going second already telegraphed that they were playing Tempai's dragons, so I just figured Kaleido Chick was the best set. So now we're going to play a game. We're going to activate the grass resolves, and I don't think I need to tell you what happens after grass happens. Grass is just incredibly powerful. This is like one of those cards that could end the game if your opponent is not careful. So I'm not gonna explain my plays here. Like every game that involves grass, you just have to like understand that it's just going to be like a game where you could finish off your opponent. We summon Engraver into track. We activate the track. We summon Lurie. And this is where they try to spheres. I don't get that play because we have a normal summoned. They summon Genroku. We activate Tiger. Tiger brings back Tiger. We're going to use the Emerald Bird. The Emerald Bird is going to dump the Martin. We're going to put back the Tiger in our hand with Martin. And this is what I talked about, like having the second Tiger, like kind of comes up. Back then, when I was playing this replay, I did not have Chaos Angel in my extra deck. Otherwise, we would have summoned it. Chaos Angel would have been very good in this matchup. We're going to grab Rhinoheart. We're going to do Sequence. We're going to do Tear Cash. Tear Cash triggers, the Scream triggers. At this point, we're already good with our extra deck. We do Aerial Leader. Aerial Leader dumps the Hollow. We have 5 monsters in the graveyard, so that is 5 mills. We do trigger the Sharon. Sharon and Beast summon Winda. We're going to do the field spells. Field spells going to summon Fadra. I tell them that they cannot summon with Fadra because of Winda, and that is the game. We do Sangen Summoning. They do Pydra. They're going to SP. We're going to activate that, we're going to summon that, we're going to do spheres, and they're going to set 3. This is not like the ideal Tempai list that we should be facing, but you know, we know that Kaiho is in there, so we're trying to play around it. The Beast is going to trigger. Like, I think the Shaddoll cards, and I'm not saying that they're mandatory, but I think the Shaddoll cards just make a lot of sense in this deck. We make Kaleido Heart. The Kaleido Heart is going to force the Genroku. That's going to force the Pydra. We're doing this because we know that they have Sangen Kaiho. So now they activate, they try to do that, they resolve that. They're going to make Black Rose. No, they're going to make that first, and then they make Black Rose. I don't get the Black Rose play. I think Black Rose is very bad against this deck. We now do Kaleido Heart. Kaleido Heart dumps Merly. Merly is going to trigger. We're going to summon Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon is going to attack. We're going to main phase 2, summon. We do this. Martin dump Trigger Karma. We grab the Tiger. We're going to grab the Meta Noise. We're going to activate, summon, make the Fiendsmith line. We're going to make Necro Quip. We're going to do Sequence. Sequence is going to pull it back, summon Aerial Leader. Aerial Leader is going to dump Hollow. Hollow is going to dump a few more. We make SP. SP to banish the Bident. We don't want that card in the graveyard. And we're going to make Baguska. Baguska is really good here because you see that droplet? That droplet has to be used on Baguska. It cannot be used anywhere else. They try to attack with Genroku. Genroku triggers. They're going to summon Chandra, and we're going to activate Meta Noise, and that's going to be the game. Yeah. So going back, yeah, I really like Tearlaments. This is like a fan favorite of this channel. I don't think this deck is like very high tier. I don't think this deck is going to be like doing as well as like other decks that we have in the format. I don't think grass decks in general are going to do very well like this season unless you just high roll your opponent or you make a strategy that is very cohesive even without grass. However, this is a very fun deck. I really like this deck. Like, I am a big fan of it. There are some issues like specific engine cards that we kind of have to run. After Fura Loss comes out, I think this deck is going to be struggling a little bit more. But for the time being, I think this deck is a lot of fun. I hope you guys found this informative to your liking and understanding. Keep practicing and keep dueling. More videos coming soon.